Hey, what's up gang? It's Adam from the Commander Smiths, and in this video, I'm going to show you can turn your dollar spec into duels. Say what? Alright gang, the idea behind this is you've probably heard of the pack to power bit. And if you haven't heard it, what it is you open a pack and eventually you trade away the cards, trade up until you get a power card. Well, as a Commander player, most of those cards are banned in Commander, so there's no point in trying to get power. Well, a few years back, we thought, what is the equivalent for Commander players? And we came up with the idea of dollar to duels. Now, how this works is you take a spec or 2 or 3, depending on how low it is, and the only rule is that the total cannot exceed $1. The next part is you wait for that spec to sell, and once it sells, then you invest in more specs, and eventually, with buying and selling specs on this line, you'll be able to buy a duel.
Holy motherforking shirt balls.
All right, now it's time for the real world example of this spec turning into a duel. Before we get started, I do want to let you know that not every spec is a home run.
That makes me a sad panda.
So you need to have that in mind when going into this. For example, I currently have about 35 different lines going.
Oh, good for you.
And the line that I'm going to talk about today with Heart of Yavimaya, I originally spec'd on it in 2017, but it didn't hit until 2021. Tip number 1 and 2 here, not only diversify your specs, but also have some patience. The hardest part when starting this is waiting for that initial spec to actually hit. Because the specs are under $1, it's like playing penny slots. One last thing, I'm going to keep a running tally of cards that I've bought and sold so you can get an idea of the purchase price and what they actually sold for. All right, let's get started with the beginning of this dollar to duel line. And that card is Heart of Yavimaya. Now, Heart of Yavimaya, I purchased back in 2017 for 20 cents. And because the card was so cheap, I was able to get 3 of these for this dollar to duel line. So Heart of Yavimaya didn't sell until the beginning of 2021, and I was able to sell all 3 of those for a total of $24.42. Now, this was during a time that all the reserve list cards were getting targeted, and I was actually able to purchase some more Heart of Yavimayas before the rest of them got targeted. In fact, I was able to pick up 7 more of them for $3.31 each. I also picked up 1 Thelon's Curse, which is also a reserve list card, for $1.17. Now we're going to call this tier 1, and out of tier 1, I only sold the Heart of Yavimayas, but I sold them after only a couple days. And that total was for $76.44 for all 7 of them. Now at this point, we move on to tier 2, and I purchased 14 more Heart of Yavimayas because there were still copies in the wild for right around $3.05. Also at this point, I did purchase a Kodama of the East Tree in foil etched at $7.60, and also another reserve list card, Power Leech, for $23.90. Now from tier 2, the only things that have sold is 3 of the Heart of Yavimayas for a total of $41.80, and also Power Leech for $39.49. Now the timing at when those sold were at different times throughout the years, so what we're going to do is I'm going to move into tier number 3, and that is mostly from Heart of Yavimaya selling in tier 2. So in tier 3, I purchased 2 Pearl Medallions non-foil, an Urza's Rage English foil, and a Village Rites English foil from the Strixhaven Mystical Archives. Now, the only thing that sold from this tier are the Pearl Medallions, and those 2 sold for a total of $50.99 in late spring of 2021. Now, as we get into the next tier, this is when things kind of get interesting. At this point, I have enough money that I'm able to start purchasing Secret Lairs. And tip number 3, when you get to the point of being able to purchase Secret Lairs, do it. I'm not going to get too in depth with this, but for the most part, Secret Lairs are one of the better specs to get into. If you pick the right one, not only do they pay out well, but you also get a bonus card with these. And sometimes those bonus cards can be worth the entire drop. Okay, back to tier number 4. In tier number 4, this is what I purchased. Negate Japanese foil, Cultivate Japanese etched foil, Biorhythm, I know that is banned, but it was a nice spec to jump into. Sway of the Stars, another banned card. I got 2 of those, and this is where the Secret Lair jumps in. Phyrexian Paraders, 1 foil box for $43.14. Now from this point forward, you're going to see how the Secret Lairs really pay off. From this tier, the Secret Lair is the only thing that sold, and I sold 4 parts from that Secret Lair for a total of $76.15. That's nearly a double up on the secret layer drop, and I still have some cards to sell from that. Now jumping into tier number 5, this is when I purchased the Galaxy Land secret layer in Galaxy foils, and I purchased that for $53.58. Now, so far, 3 of the cards from that drop have sold, and that is a total of $113.32, which is a double up. From there, stepped up the game a bit in tier 6, and this time bought 2 Transformer secret layer drops foil for a total of $86.28. From that drop, I've only sold 4 cards to date for a total of $101.01. Now, as we get into tier number 7, this is the start of 2023. So I did a couple random specs with silver mirror and foil, copper mirror and foil because of the mirror commander that came out. And I was actually able to sell both of those for $7.92 each. And what that allowed me to do is in tier 8, I was able to buy 4 Dungeons & Dragons secret layer drop in foil at $53.93 each. This drop proved to be the home run of this line because the total sale from those Dungeons & Dragons secret layers was $350 even. Now you're probably saying to yourself, okay, now you can buy your first duel. Well, you have to remember, these are all selling at different times. I'm just making this easy so you can see what has sold and what hasn't in each tier. But if I did know that the Dungeons & Dragons would profit me $350, I might have waited a little bit and purchased that first duel. But instead, I invested into more secret layer drops, and in tier 9, I purchased Cool Ocean Breeze secret layer foil for $43.11, and then March of the Machine Volume 3 foil secret layer for $53.89. So far, I've only sold 2 cards from each of those drops. For Cool Ocean Breeze, I've sold $43.37 worth of cards, and for March of the Machine Volume 3, I've sold for a total of $44.45. Now, when we get into tier number 10, this is also another turning point. In this tier, I was able to purchase secret layer commander decks. Now, a tip number 4, if you get to a point where you can purchase a secret layer commander deck, I highly recommend you do it. Again, not going to break this down because we have done this before and we have videos out there that you can see that does the breakdown of these decks. But the main cards in the set normally pay for the secret layer drop. And then you have all the bonus cards that are in the commander deck that you can not only sell, but buy list. And then you can purchase something that you need or want for your line, aka a duel. All right, bear with me. Tier number 10 has a lot going on, and we're going to change things up a bit, and I'm going to tell you what I bought and then how much it sold for instead of going through the entire tier. The first up is a foil Death is Temporary secret layer drop. Bought 2 of those for $86.28. I've only sold 2 things from that at this point for $33.68. And the big part of this tier is then I bought the Angels Commander Deck secret layer. That secret layer commander deck costs $161.80. So far, I have sold a total of $126.13, but I also buy listed $156.67 to Card Kingdom. Now, if you don't know what buy listing is, what it is you send in your cards to like a card store, and they give you credit that you can use to either purchase cards later or other product. Now, in this case, I sent in mostly cards under $10, and that basically paid for the entire secret layer drop. There was one more purchase for this tier, and that was actually going half in on another Angels secret layer commander deck. And I went half in with another Dollar to Duel line. So when you take the total for that, I purchased that for $80.90. And at this point with that drop, I haven't sold anything, but I did buy list some cards. So that's $67.21. Now, if you notice our totals, well, after skimming Card Kingdom's site, I noticed that Savannah was going for a light play version at $271.65. So I used my buy list credit to purchase the Savannah and threw an extra $47.80 $2,000,000.77 of cash. And just like that, we have a duel. Now, the fun doesn't stop there because the ultimate goal is to own one of every duel in one single line. So the great thing with the secret layers is that I'm continuing to sell more and more cards from those secret layers. And even after I purchased the Savannah, I have bought 7 more secret layers just on this line. And with a couple more sales, I can purchase my second duel. So now things are kind of moving exponentially. So now the question is, do I purchase another duel or do I invest in things that I know will continue to go up? Personally, how I am going to handle this is I'm going to make sure that I have more than enough funds saved up so that when I purchase the next duel that I have extra money so that I can purchase more secret layers and continue this line going. Because that's the key. You need to keep it going. You don't want it to just stop with getting the duels. You want this line to keep getting bigger and bigger and bigger. All right, that is how I turned my dollar spec of Heart of Yavimaya into a Savannah. And if you want to check out the video of me opening that dual land, make sure you click the link above or check the link in the description below. And if you have any dollar to dual line specs or ideas, I would sure love to hear them in the comment section. And that should do it for Dollar to Duels. I'm Adam Smith from the Commander Smiths. Make sure you like and subscribe to this video. See ya!